Galena just saying, when someone goes around you in circles, it feels very uncomfortable. Comfortable, feeling uncomfortable, I guess.
Yeah, maybe it's slightly off topic, but I think some people might take great value in that. Is just in a small point on that is, if somebody is circling a lot, we use a term called kind of like squeezing space and tracking. One thing that's very important that might help a lot of people is not to track with your front leg. So by tracking on your front leg, then that leg becomes very heavy to adjust if you need to use it quickly. And also the angle is different. Whereas instead, if somebody moves to this side, then I should move my back leg to correct this. Now there's more weight in my back leg that I can lift my front leg easy, or I can advance if I need to. Whereas when you track people with your front leg, then it's a little bit harder, personally I feel at least. So I think one of the biggest things you can do is track with your rear leg. And then as you're doing that, it allows you to go forwards in different ways as well. And you can close off the space, what we call squeezing. Whereas if you step with your front leg, then you have to take another step. Whereas if you track with your rear leg, then you can also move forward. Missed that in the camera, I'll repeat that again. So as I track on my rear, it's a natural step then for me to squeeze the space. Whereas if I track with my front leg, then the step is a little bit more deliberate and a bit more obvious. So you want to, bit by bit, unintentionally without them knowing, squeeze the space. So my suggestion would be to use your back leg to track where they are. Okay, try keep your weight light on the front leg as best you can. And then you can bit by bit then squeeze that space. And also you can use your techniques like the front leg kind of like as a threat to kind of squeeze that space as well. So that's just a little tip for people on against people who are kind of flying around, zipping around, and you're kind of almost stuck in no man's land in the center of the ring. You need to try to squeeze that space and reduce the area they can move into.
So a very important thing as well then, and it's, as you say, yeah, these are things that sometimes you take for granted that people will be aware of, but actually, as I constantly have to remind myself, most people don't train in rings. So most people train in a sports hall with everybody using the available space as best they can to get their training done. But it all changes when you get put in a square. And once you're put in a square, you start to realize that it's very finite in its space. And like, I borrowed the bottle here, but you can see that like the circle here. So a person can only circle you as long as you let them have that nice geometric round space. The second there are jagged edges on that, by you shifting in a little bit, adjusting your back foot and pushing, recognizing that they have more space to widen the circle when they get to a corner, and that's good because you can give them a little push and they move towards the corner, and now all of a sudden the circle that they're trying to move around goes outside the boundaries of the square. So they had a nice little circle that touched the inner boundaries of the square the whole way around, and if coming towards the corner they widen the circle, now it goes outside the boundaries of the square, and then that's a huge advantage to you. You can also improve things by and I'll switch over to mine for a second. As Richie was saying, yeah, you can be moving in front of a person and tracking by adjusting your back foot to let them go. But remember, as they're moving across and circling in front of me, I don't have to follow them exactly this way. I can also move this way and, create, by moving parallel to them, I can put that point where their circle is now getting closer to where I want to be, and they'll have to change direction. So I can force change the direction as the person is circling by moving this way and preparing the hands, forcing them maybe to go back the other way. And then as Richie was saying, then it's a point where I can move my front foot if I have to. I can open up the ring to let them back in, but I usually don't want to do that. Or I can make that very quick, okay, you've gone here, you've changed your direction. Okay, we come back. Take a little bounce. So like even that shortening and lengthening of your stance, that if I'm following in a very predictable kind of, my stance stays the same length as the person's going, that's quite easy for them. But if I'm a bit more relaxed and moving here this way as they're trying to circle around, it makes it a little bit more difficult for them to know their distance. Remember, they're taking a chance, because when you're circling, yes, you could be this way, this way, this way the whole time, but at some point you're probably going to have to open out and become full facing. And if you're full facing, you are taking a chance that your opponent isn't getting a good read on you and they're not going to launch straight in. So it's good to have that one.
Yeah, and then I was turning into almost a circling and tracking one. But when that opportunity presents itself, then when they do become full facing, that's almost your opportunity to use Adrian's one from earlier of opening the space and maybe coming off your back leg with the push kick variation. So looking for when they do become square on is your opportunity then to maybe pick a score and get back to kind of a focus setup again.